Hi everyone, how's it going? It is Either Real Randy Chavez coming at you today with a VeVe OMI update video. Guys, if you're new, welcome. For not, welcome back. I love y'all. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, and subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon, smashing that super thanks button down below. Super chats as well. Can VeVe keep rising? It has been about a month since we had 1,000 daily active users on the app. Last time was 24 June when we had 1,033 users. And since then, we have had stuff as low as, actually that one's not bad, 664 on June 29th, but I think there was a couple of times where we had it in the fives. July 7th was 571. It's pretty low. Moving on past that, we had 14 July, 537. Sorry, 8 July, 532. So again, we've had a couple of these things exceedingly low. And then comes these past few days where starting on 18 July, we've had 1,210 users. Again, that's the first time we've had 1,000 active users on a day in a given month. 19 July, 901, still not bad. 20 July, 1,323. All right, now we're cooking with gas. Our second one in 3 days. There's a bug on July 21st, so I wasn't able to tell how many active users we had that day. 22 July, it was 983. Okay, not bad. Again, like almost 1,000. 23 July, 1,952. That is like 3.75x of our lowest date. So there are times where we have more than 3x. We have like 3 extra users if you cherry pick that data. More than double the users of any other day throughout the beginning of July. And then go back down to 1,174 users on the 24th of July. Now, what's so special about 23 July of 1,952 users? Well, it was a day in which they made $30,000 in a couple of seconds. It was Silver Surfer #1, which is a fantastic comic. It's a very fine comic. But it wasn't like we have fine comics all the time. It wasn't just the fact that it was a good comic, because any #1s, especially like first appearance of stuff, yeah, some people will be like, okay, they'll take a look at it, they'll raise an eyebrow, like, okay, what is this? Could this possibly be a good comic? And that would get the amount of people on the app, it would have a little bit of an uptick, probably a couple hundred people. That being said, we have also had 300 new user signups in the last 30 days. So which again doesn't sound like much, especially when Disney Pinnacle has like 75,000 new users in that same time frame. Okay, well, look at the reasons why. You have Disney Plus that are saying like, hey, come check out our Disney Pinnacle thing. They had these one-of-one competitions. Like Disney Plus, or Disney in general, has been very good at marketing Disney Pinnacle. They have done diddly squat for VeVe as far as marketing goes. And yet we still were able to do 300, which again, 300 active users doesn't seem like a lot, but that's more than half of certain days. Like sometimes we have under 600 users on a given day in early July. So adding 300 in that time, you're basically increasing that by 50+%. It's like, okay, I don't think it's going to take 20,000 people for us to start to rocket again. You already saw one day last week, somebody bought $11 million worth of CryptoPunks. Then you had someone yesterday, or probably 2 days ago by the time you guys see this video, that somebody bought another $1 million worth of CryptoPunks. Moonbirds tripling in value. You have so many of these examples of money flowing into NFTs. When Ethereum's at like 3,700, it's nowhere near all-time highs, nowhere near in price discovery zone. Suddenly, as soon as President Trump goes to the Federal Reserve, meets with Jerome Powell in person, now suddenly Jerome Powell's ready to play ball. He's not going to resign anymore. Looks like he's going to cut rates in August. You have trillions of dollars that will rip into the market, causing this market melt up. What do people do as soon as they get money? Perfect example of this. Penny from The Big Bang Theory goes on, and she has a big order. The guys make her a website, has a big $2,000 order. She does, as soon as she gets that big $2,000 order, what is the first thing that she does? She doesn't pay off her credit cards. She doesn't invest. She goes online, says, I'm going to buy shoes. And that's not specific to women. It's just everyone that has, you have like this like high water mark where people have, once they have a certain amount in their account, if they go above it, they start to spend. For a lot of people, their high water mark is pretty low. But once you go above it, like, oh, I got extra money, I got to spend it. And what happens if Trump is able to give people like these $500, $1,000 checks for lower in, like it happened in 2020. People were getting those $1,200 checks. Pokemon skyrockets. Crazy, right? So you have a ton of money that's going to rip into the market. And people are very predictable creatures. They're social creatures, and they're going to want the best of the best. Now, right now, it's a Moonbird, it's a CryptoPunk, it's a Bored Ape Yacht Club, whatever, Autoglyph. But at some point, that's going to flow into digital collectibles. You're going to want the first appearance of Mickey Mouse, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman on the blockchain, and VeVe has it all. So I think again, it's not going to take 20,000 new users. It's just going to take, I don't know, just add a zero. There's a couple thousand new users, and the grails are going to start to move. And what is the best way to market? I mean, there's multiple ways to market, multiple ways to play a hand of poker, skin a cat, but it's really just green candles. Partner statues, now $1,300, it was $1,000, like a week or two ago. So something going up 30% seems like a lot in the normal world. NFT world, crypto world's really not that crazy. But that's one of those things. And again, a lot of people that follow me, or a lot of people that just have kind of watched my videos for a while, they don't just have OMI. They probably have Definity, they probably have DEVVE, they probably have a litany of other stuff outside of OMI and VeVe stuff. And as some of those, as they get more money, especially ETH, especially as ETH goes to 5K, 7K, 8K, people are going to have a lot of money. And it's unlike last bull market where you had to use a credit card to buy these collectibles. Now, you can send your Ethereum all the way to Stacker. Send your ETH to Stacker, swap it for OMI, boom. Get it right there inside of a minute. And you could buy any of the collectibles that you have on the app over there, oftentimes with a discount. So I think with this new information that VeVe has doubled and some days tripled the amount of users they have, that's step one. The other step, and this is something they don't have to do, but part of the reason we had 1,900 people on that day was because there was a $5,000 bounty. I don't care what collectible, what comic it is. If you're telling people they could spend $15 and potentially get $5,000 in return for that, they're going to do that all the live long day. That's why you had so many people there. It wasn't because of the comic. Now, granted, the comic was great, and I have one, and I'm keeping it. And if it's a rare, it's nothing really crazy special. If someone for whatever reason wants to buy it for whatever price, cool, whatever. But turning $15 into $5,000, that's why a lot of people were there. And again, it doesn't matter what the collectible is. I guarantee you most people that bought it have not read it. Whereas I read a lot of the comics that I buy, and hopefully some of y'all buy some of the comics that I create from DACAT later this year. And Ladies on Solana, Space Penguin, Solana Wolfpack, etc. You know the whole spiel. If VeVe does that, and they could do it through themselves, they could do it through someone like me, Comms and Crypto, they could make, and again, it's not just that particular comic that sold out. You had a comic today sell out. You had a comic that, like, there are things that are starting to sell out and people are starting to make money again. And that's going to be the biggest thing. But how do you, like, the comic that sold out today made them like $5,000, right? It wasn't a big thing. Comic sold out the other day, same thing, like $5,000. But the comic that they had with the $5,000 bounty from Comics and Crypto, that made $30,000. Now the comics in which they've sold out recently, that made like $5,000. There was no bounty on, I don't think. And you make $5,000. But if you're saying you put a bounty, and it doesn't have to be $5,000, it could be $3,000. If you put a $3,000 bounty on something, on a mint number, and you make $30,000 with it, I don't care what it is. Like, you're going to make money. I don't care how much you have to pay Apple, how much you have to pay the licensor. This is why VeVe needs to go in and get some of their own IP. They are masters They are titans in their industry of making high-end 3D digital collectibles of other people's IP. They could get Dashi. I have like, what, 14 new characters that are coming out in the Cat comic. All it would take for VeVe, the Cat IP is worth about 150K right now. Next time we go to raise money, it'll probably be about $250,000 for the IP. So if VeVe just wants 5% at $250,000, that's 12.5 thousand, and suddenly they can make that up in a single drop. Hey, you know what, DACAT? Hey, you know what, like whatever. They could make that up at 30,000, have a $3,000 bounty on a certain mint number, and they could do that for every single one of those characters that are going to make first appearance in my comic. And they don't care that they're going to pay the $3,000. Why? Because it's going to sell out and they're going to make a heck ton of money. That's just paying your fair share. That's just king's hunting tax, whatever you want to call it. That's just business operation. That's the cost of doing business. And they could do that really whenever they want. Are they going to do that? Probably not. Should they? Absolutely. We also have an announcement. The big announcement, like granted, Johnny Depp. So Johnny Depp, there's a very, very small chance that he might be coming on the podcast because I threw an offer out there saying like, hey, Johnny Depp, if you come on the podcast, I'll give you a gold and silver VeVe logo. Currently, the worth of that is worth $5,000. He'll probably do it. I'll do a bottle of wine. Johnny Depp, if you're listening, bottle of whiskey, whatever you want, right? We'll have it together. But that's not the big announcement that David was talking about. The big announcement has yet to be announced. I don't know when. Could be, as you guys are watching this today, Saturday. There's no drops listed for Saturday, San Diego. Or it could be, a couple weeks from now. Probably going to be something with gaming. Anyway, comment down below your speculation on that. I don't want this video to be too long. That's it for me. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. I love you all. Class dismissed. Bye, guys. Meow, meow, meow.